Hello.
I'm your crazy guest today. I've got the times all mixed up.
Oh, don't worry about it. I just came out of the shower and I saw, and I was like, oh my gosh, did I get something wrong? Oh, wow. Fantastic.
But, no, yeah. I got it wrong. Because we're on daylight saving times, and I'm so mixed up with the times. My sincerest apologies, but we're here.
Fantastic. We're here. Let's go for it. Let's go.
Yes.
So, yes, Kim, I am so honored to have you on Global Sororitors. I am so glad that you are here, and welcome on this platform. I'm just going to give you a little bit of introduction, and then after I'm just going to hand it over to you. If I have any questions, then I'll interject. But yeah, the floor is yours. So I'm going to pronounce your middle name. Can you pronounce it for me so I don't get it wrong? Boudreau?
Oh, you did good. It's Boudreau.
Boudreau.
Did very
so
well.
We very have well. Kim Boudreau Smith with us today. She's passionate about helping women find and use their bold voices. A born entrepreneur with 25 years as a leader in the corporate America, Kim rocks at showing female entrepreneurs and high-performing professional women how to develop their speaking confidence, level up their presence, and increase their profitability. Kim's raw, slightly rebellious, and always riveting speaking style makes her go-to speaker for women, business and professional conferences, associations, employee resource group, and podcast. Prior to launching her career as a professional speaker and speaking coach, Kim was the head of a radio station for 25 plus years and ran head of a radio station, and for 25 plus years ran a thriving fitness business. Kim is also the co-author of several Amazon best-selling books, and you can connect with Kim and grab her 5 ways to stop self-sabotaging at her website, which I'm going to put all the details in the comment section later on. So welcome, Kim. Yes, and today we're talking about how to, elevate our voices. And it's something that I had a challenge with, prior to doing my lives. I always wanted to be in the background. I don't really wanted to kind of show up front, and I gave myself many excuses why I couldn't do it. And also watching your presentation on LinkedIn kind of drew me to you, because I could connect to you. I understood what you were doing, and I really appreciate it. So Kim, the floor is yours. If you can just tell us a little bit about yourself, and also talk about how we can elevate our voices.
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for being flexible with this time. I'm still laughing, going, oh my gosh, the time. But, I want to begin this morning with, I wasn't always this boisterous person. I was told, and I was a very shy child when I was younger, because I was getting so many mixed messages from my family of, you've got a big mouth, you're bossy, tone it down, the whole neighborhood can hear you, when I was out orchestrating, childhood games and stuff like that. And I realized after high school, going into dabbling a little bit of, in university, I had a very, very successful corporate career, but I was not in my bold voice. I was not in my authentic voice. I was living based upon others' opinions, what I thought society thought I should be doing. And I was very, very successful, but it eventually caught up with me. So I was always very vocal, but not wholeheartedly true in my authentic voice. And, I've always been an advocate for women's voices. I just was, not really embodying it all the way, because I wasn't at a time where I embodied my own voice. It wasn't until, about 12 years ago, when I fell asleep at a major intersection, a red light right over here, not far from my home, in the middle of a sunny August afternoon. Thank goodness my foot didn't come off the brake. Because if it did, I would have been in the intersection. I would have hurt someone, or I would hurt myself. Is when I decided that my voice was talking me back to sleep. There was no reason why I should have been tired. So I really took really big, it's still on it, personal healing journey. You know, a healing journey doesn't just let's go after the weekend, we're going to be cured. It's always ongoing. We're always leveling up and leveling that voice up. What I will say this afternoon and morning to some of the people that are joining us that are in different time zones is you really have to embrace yourself and really get that mindset managed so it's not controlling you. Because when we've got all those horrible things going on in our mind, our inner critic, aka I call her the hag in the attic, that is what's going to come out. That is how we are going to show up, just in our body posture, how we play small, live upon other people's opinions. We're blocking that bold, authentic voice. And I want to thank a few of the people that are joined us today. And I see Nicole just said, we are always work in progress. We are always work in progress.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
So in terms of, you know, a lot of people will be listening to you and they feel like they've always seen themselves very small. And they think in terms of elevating their voices, it has to be on a platform. Like I am a public speaker. So therefore, that's why I need to elevate my voice. But my understanding from what I've read and your work is slightly different. You see it's slightly different. So if you could just talk to that for us.
Yes, absolutely. So I do want to acknowledge what you just said is absolutely as entrepreneurs, as women entrepreneurs, we do need to be on stages. We do need to be doing, you know, keynote presentations and leading master classes, whether it's virtual or in person. I know we're slowly coming back into being in person. It's the greatest way to really leverage our businesses and get in front of our ideal client target audience and really create impact and get our ideas worth sharing out there. A huge impact. Hence, that's where we get the profitability in our businesses. But the other side of that is if you are not that woman business owner and you are an amazing woman inside a corporate, climbing those glass floors to get to that ceiling to start shattering and changing things up in there, is we really have to lean in. I don't, whether you're at a table, whether you don't have a chair at a table and you're standing, or you grab the chair and sit down, you have to be a part of that conversation. And when we're not feeling confident within ourselves, we pull back, we'll play small, we won't say anything. Then we leave meetings feeling very unfulfilled and not heard, which amplifies stress. It amplifies those uneasy feelings about ourselves. When it's getting to the point of being so confident that you do speak up in meetings, but you're speaking up not because you think what other people in there are going to want you to say. You're speaking up because you do have something to add to the conversation.
Right. Because also, I mean, thinking about that, there are aspects of it that has to do with the internal voice.
Yes.
Now, so the internal voice has to kind of align with the external, if you understand, because it comes from within. So how can we dig deep within ourselves to be able to bring that internal voice? Because we all have, you know, sometimes I go through the day and I have conversations with myself internally, and some of the conversations I might not externally express it, but I'm still speaking. How can that voice from the inside now project outward?
Well, that takes practice. And let me say that word again. that takes practice. Drop the perfection, drop that I did this today, so everything's going to be perfect for the rest of my life. That takes practice. And it is all about shifting that internal conversation, which in my opinion is the most boldest voice that we have. It's just that we've allowed that bold voice be that inner critic, that hag, and take us down, because the job we've given her is to keep us comfortable and keep us small. When one of the things that works for me, and I don't do it all the time, is when I start feeling my inner critic start ramping up, like, oh gosh, Kim, who do you think you are launching that out there, or who, no one's going to come to you, or all that inner critic stuff, or, you don't have enough degrees to be at this table, which is all BS, quite frankly. Is I'll ask myself, what do I need right now in this moment? What do I need right now in this moment? Then you're beginning to change up the internal dialogue. Again, if your internal dialogue is being small and quiet, so the external, so the head dialogue, and this is shutting down the actual body, the true heart space. If this head dialogue is really driving the bus, so to speak, and controlling us, we're going to be small. We're going to be closed down. And we're going to buy into what they're saying. Again, one of the things, in fact, I keep looking over here on my desk, is because I have a card on my desk, is what do I need right now to trust and surrender? And it could be something as simple but extremely impactful of log off. I got to get out. I got to go get outside for some fresh air. I need to take a couple deep breaths. And it's asking those questions. And then after you get those deep breaths going, I love to ask myself, is that really true? And then sometimes I laugh at myself and go, hell no, it's not. And sometimes I literally sit there and go, no, it's not true. But what is the lesson here that I need to learn to go to higher levels?
What is the lesson that you need to learn? So if I was a woman that came and approached you and I wanted to level up, what processes would you take me through in order to get to that point where I'm now, speaking authentically, showing up? What I found out for myself is I had an intention. I set an intention. I said, look, this year I'm going to show up consistently. And I committed to it. And it takes work, doesn't it? So if a woman was to come to you and wanted to get from a point A to a point B, how does that process go?
Well, first of all, I ask all my clients to make a minimal of a 6-month commitment, because things don't change overnight. And within that 6 months process, I immediately begin with the mindset. Because unless, I say this all the time. Look, I can get you all beautifully tidied up and go out there and present the most beautiful keynote presentation, TED Talk. I can teach you to have the most interactive masterclass here virtually. But if your mindset is not aligned with that, you're not going to connect and you're not going to be successful. So one of the places I always begin is with that mindset. And I always ask my clients, what is it? What is it that you are holding back on here? Is it the imposter syndrome? Listen, I'm a recovering imposter syndrome perfectionist addict here. Imposter syndrome, perfectionism, worried about other people's opinions. I've heard clients say, oh yeah, I really stepped up. And I'm like, yay! But you know what? They all thought I was a bitch, and you know what? And I was a bitch. Okay, well, no. So if I hear clients referring themselves to that, it makes me, number one, raise an eyebrow. Is what are you thinking of other women? That, number one. And number two, there's a way for us to really ground ourselves so that we're not bitchy or this or all these, societal labels that they put on women, and that we are owning our voice. So I always start with the mindset. And then from the mindset, we start going into doing role playing to start overcoming other people's opinions and that imposter syndrome. And then depending upon the client's wants, needs, and desires, either we start tackling videos like, you know, like what you're an amazing host. It takes a lot to show up like this. It really does. And it takes practice. There is no, I've got to get this all perfect. And, you know, I've got to replay this 20 times, you know, and then we look so darn polished. we can't connect. So it takes practice, and it's also allowing, like today, you know, I was getting a little stressed here because I got the times wrong, you know, and I've got someone coming to my house here at 1. And so my palms, and I said, all right, sit back, hang on. I took a couple deep breaths. I reached out to you. I said, can we go a little earlier? My apologies. No one's going to die here. No one's going to die. And look what we do. We meet up. We go live. We're a half hour late to my post and a half hour early to yours, but we're here. And that's all that matters.
Interesting. It is, because to be quite honest with you, I was anticipating today too. And when I saw you go live, I was like, what is going on?
I know. I'm like, well, I'm sitting in my office. I'm going to go live. I made a mistake. Time change. You know, because I had a couple of people texting me going, where are you? I'm like, I don't know. This is why I don't like this live. You know, so my hair gets going, my inner critic, and I'm like, okay, God, let's all settle down here, you know? And so I'm like, oh, I'll go live. And I'm just talking. And, you know, yes, I don't like time changes, and I screwed up, and hang tight. We'll come around. See you later. Bye.
Yeah. But it just shows that sometimes you're not prepared in the sense of preparation, you know, but I think because of the mindset that I still need to show up, it wasn't a point of let's cancel it. I mean, if we had to, if it was an emergency, that's different. Yes. It wasn't a mindset of let's cancel it. Let's do it, even if it's just for half an hour. We're still showing up. We're still elevating our voices, and we're still speaking about what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, that's one of the things I do, you know, talk with women about is, you know, when we're so BUSY, which I don't like that BUSY word. I really don't. You know, you ask people, how are you? Busy? I don't even know how to respond to that. I don't know if I should bring out my pom-poms and go, yay. I don't know how to respond to that comment anymore, that answer. But, you know, when we are so busy, and we start dropping commitments or showing up half of how we want to show up, that's something we need to really take a step back, slow down for a moment, take a few deep breaths, and reevaluate, how do you really want to show up? You know, I mean, that is a bold voice, you know, when you're dropping commitments, or I can't come because this or that, or I totally forgot, or, you know, just take responsibility of a hiccup. I don't like to say mistakes because they're all lessons learned, you know, of a hiccup, and you still show up, you know, not to make light of this, but you still show up even if your dog ate your homework. You still show up. You show up.
Yes, I'm quite, I'm looking at the time, so don't worry. I think we've got about 10 minutes before you're able to go yet. So but I wanted to speak to you about something, you know, about your journey in terms of from that growing up, from the experiences you had and the experience you had in the corporate world. I think there was a time where you made a decision and said, you know what, this is not actually what I want to do anymore, and you kind of transition into something else. What was the shift in your thought pattern, in the reasons behind you making that decision?
Well, you know, my corporate life was always in outside sales and marketing. I was always out. I was never in. And the last corporate job that I had, I was brought in because you had all the women upstairs in this corporate offices were all women, and on the main floor were all the white men in management. There were no women. So I was highly recommended into this company, and I learned really quickly I was a chosen prize. And boy, you want to talk about stuck between worlds. I mean, the women didn't want to go to lunch with me, and the men were going off on their lunch. I mean, I was miserable, miserable. And all the years that I've been in, that I was in corporate, I don't do well with the politics. I really didn't. I mean, I just come from a family that if you work hard, you will earn a hard day of earnings, a living. So when you're dealing with people that are really good at those corporate politics, it was like swimming with sharks. Even though, I was very successful. So the reason why I stepped away is because I was very unhappy. I was tired of the negotiations of salaries and bonuses and these companies coming up short when I'm, pulling my weight. So I stepped away and I started my first business. This was about 25, 26, almost 27 years ago. It's a fitness business. And I still have the fitness business. It's very small. It was huge at one time. And gosh, the sense of relief to walk away. But boy, I have to tell you that first year in business, woo, that was tough. I mean, I went from earning so much money down to very little. And, it was a huge, huge year that I learned a lot from. But I was always a very unhappy person in corporate because I was living based upon what society thought Kim Boudreau Smith should be.
And that was the push really to say no. And I think for a lot of women, I could say some women that I've come in contact with, they're stuck in that unhappy place. Yes. But to move from that place to the next level, there's a fear element of it, and that fear can be crippling sometimes. Yeah. So, and I know that a lot of women are going to listen to this conversation later on. We want to contact you because we need to elevate our voices, not just in the corporate setting. At home, we need to elevate our voice. How many women are in relationships that they can't even say what they want, what they need, or voice their opinion in terms of matters that pertaining to their own well-being and in their pertaining to their own life. So I think this is a very important thing that is needed, and I wanted, to showcase you on this platform because I believe that women can get a lot of support from you because you have many years of experience. I think you're a phenomenal woman.
Thank you.
Great. Quite honored that you're here, and so I'm going to post all the details in the inbox. In the comment section. So if they want to contact you, they can. So before you leave, is there one last word that you wanted to share with us?
With all the women out there, all the women in here today, all the women out there just do it on your terms. Do it on your terms. Don't worry about what everyone else is saying. There's always going to be naysayers out there, and there's also going to be even more people cheering you on. But just be you, be you, and just be true to yourself and do it on your terms.
Yes. And one of the questions that I do ask all my guests is, what do you want to be remembered for? What does Kim want to be remembered for when you're long and gone?
Oh, goodness. I want to be remembered for that I was able to compassionately hold space for women so that they could really just soulfully turn in and grab their voice and get their voices out there so they grabbed their happiness, their joyfulness, and their success on their terms through their voice.
Hey to that. So Kim, thank you so much. I know that we had to kind of squeeze everything in within this 20 minutes or half an hour, but it's been impactful. It's been a time of value, and that's the most important thing. And so hopefully when people replay this, they can get something out of it, they could contact you. Thank you very much. I hope your appointment goes well for the rest of the evening. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.